We're kicking off today with Raw, and at Crown Jewel, a fatal four-way was announced to determine Gunther's next challenger between Dominic Mysterio, Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Seth Rollins. Gunther has been the World Heavyweight Champion for quite a while now, and after the events of Crown Jewel, fans wondered who would be his next opponent. Crown Jewel saw Cody Rhodes defeat Gunther to become the first ever Crown Jewel champion, and now we know who will be next to face the Austrian juggernaut. The huge fatal four-way took place during the latest taping for the November 4th edition of Monday Night Raw, and if you don't want spoilers, skip the next 45 seconds of this video. This was a truly excellent match from start to finish, as each competitor gave their all to earn the title shot, but in the end, it was Damian Priest who got the win and the match with Gunther. It remains to be seen how WWE builds Gunther Priest 2, as it was at SummerSlam that Priest lost the gold to the King of the Ring, and he has been in hot pursuit ever since. Their feud in the coming weeks will be interesting to see, and fans can expect things to heat up in a big way between the two competitors as we approach Survivor Series on November 30th. Do you believe WWE will let Priest win the title, or will WWE let Gunther defeat Priest in a dominant way after the loss to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel 2024? Let us know down below. At Crown Jewel, Solo Sikoa got the pinfall on Roman Reigns in the six-man tag team match, marking only the second time Reigns has been pinned since August of last year. Sikoa is understandably pleased with himself, and his ego was on full display at a recent promo shared by WWE ahead of a live event in Dublin, Ireland. In the promo, Solo took credit for the show's sellout attendance, as he said, "And still your tribal chief, Solo. The tribal chief is here in Dublin, Ireland tonight, and we are sold out, and that is all because of me. The whole world and everybody here tonight, they will acknowledge me." Sikoa's confidence and assertion of leadership have sparked plenty of chatter, with WWE even adding Solo TC to its social media, a nod to Roman Reigns being the OTC. Solo's declaration follows a year of seismic shifts in the bloodline as he seized the opportunity to be the tribal chief after Reigns lost to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. Sikoa remains in possession of the Ula Fala, the symbolic necklace previously worn by Reigns, and with Solo dubbing himself the tribal chief, fans are wondering what's next. Is Solo ready to lead, or will Reigns return from his setback at Crown Jewel in the six-man tag team match to reclaim his throne? Only time will tell. Do you think Solo Sikoa has what it takes to be the Bloodline's tribal chief? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for more updates on WWE's most powerful faction. Later this month, WWE will host Survivor Series in Vancouver, British Columbia, which for the third year in a row will see the return of the War Games match. Right now, the stage is set for Solo Sikoa's bloodline to take on Roman Reigns' bloodline in the double structure, but this match could be about to be even bigger. With the reintroduction of Sami Zayn at Crown Jewel, both sides now will have 4 superstars each, but there will soon be 2 more superstars thrown into the mix. That's according to wrestling correspondent Dr. Chris Featherstone, who reports that the War Games match will be a 5-on-5 match, as previously reported, not 4-on-4. If so, that means both teams will have to find an extra partner, and who would you like to see in the mix if this happens? Give your picks down below in the comments. Back to Raw, and as we said, this week's show has already been taped, and if you don't want to be spoiled, skip the next minute of this video. Now, The Miz has been a heel for a majority of his WWE career, and the Wyatt Six want to make him pay for that, and this feud was featured during the upcoming episode of Raw. During the show, the Wyatt Six glitched out the TV broadcast before they were shown having tied someone to a chair, and that person was wearing a mask. This unfortunate soul was revealed to be The Miz, and Uncle Howdy cut an ominous promo for the A-lister, who looked terrified to be the recipient during this unsettling segment. The Miz was tied to that chair with his mouth taped shut, and we'll have to see how everything pans out for The Miz, as R-Truth has made clear he wants nothing to do with his ex-friend. The Miz has made his bed with the Wyatt Six, and now he must lay in it, and we'll also have to see what effort, if any, the Final Testament make to rescue the former WWE champion. What do you think will happen with The Miz after the Wyatt Six got a hold of him? Let us know in the comments below. More spoilers from this week's Raw, and as you know, if you don't want to learn of what happened ahead of time, skip the next 75 seconds of the video. At Crown Jewel, Liv Morgan became the first ever Women's Crown Jewel champion when she defeated Nia Jax, but now attention turns to plans for her Women's World title. With Rhea Ripley no longer in the title picture due to an injury, the field of challengers is wide open, and during Raw, a battle royal was held to determine her next opponent. This featured some top names including Damage Control, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, The Unholy Union, Maxine Dupree, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, Ivy Nile, Katana Chance, Zelina Vega, Natalya, and Lyra Valkyria. After plenty of action, Valkyria and Io Sky were the last two women standing, and ultimately it was Sky who eliminated the Valkyrie to get the win and a shot at the women's world title. This proved to be a popular decision judging by the crowd reaction, which makes sense given that Sky has proven herself to be one of the best in-ring competitors in WWE. We'll have to wait and see how WWE will book Liv Morgan and Io Sky's feud in the coming weeks as we head towards the Survivor Series Premium Live event on November 30th. Will Io Sky finally defeat Morgan, or will she be yet another victim to the Judgment Day member who's been on a roll in 2024? Sound off in the comments below. More from the Raw in Saudi Arabia that'll air today, as during the show, WWE shared huge plans for its global outreach, which will take place worldwide in 2025. With WWE being so hot right now, demand is high for international events, and WWE has planned several major shows across Europe this coming March. This schedule includes the SmackDown in Barcelona, Spain on March 14th, followed by a Raw in Belgium on March 17th, before SmackDown comes to Italy on March 21st. Later in the month, London, England will host both a SmackDown and a Raw show on March 28th and 31st respectively, in another huge move for WWE, post being acquired by Endeavor. Endeavor's takeover and WWE's merger with UFC under TKO has seen great strides, and WWE is also making a ton of money, as reflected in the ticket prices for WrestleMania 41. WWE's commitment to delivering live events to its global fan base only shows the demand for its product, and fans can expect 2 Saudi events next year as part of their decade-long deal. That deal was made in 2018, and with Spain and Belgium about to receive their first ever WWE TV tapings, next March will be a huge month for WWE fans in Europe. At Crown Jewel, the Bloodline's assault on Roman Reigns and the Usos was interrupted by Sami Zayn, who teased siding with Solo Sikoa before hitting an exploder suplex. Things took a sour turn for Sami as a kick aimed at Solo would hit Roman Reigns, leaving Sami and Jimmy to argue while Sikoa and his allies retreated up the ramp. Sami was on this week's Raw from Riyadh, and if you don't want to hear what he had to say, skip the next minute of this video. In a promo, Sami explained that he was only at Crown Jewel for Jey Uso, but when he was in the ring fighting alongside Jey, Jimmy, and Roman, it felt like old times. Sami even said that for a minute it felt pretty good, but said that this good feeling only lasted a minute before things fell apart due to his accidental kick on the OTC. Things fell apart, and according to Sami, that happens every single time with the 4 of us, leaving fans on a cliffhanger as Zayn realizes the perils of realigning with Reigns and co. Sami Zayn's time with the original Bloodline ended at the 2023 Royal Rumble as he refused to attack Kevin Owens, and this kicked off a feud with the Usos that'd see the 4 headline WrestleMania 39 Night 1. Will Sami be able to put the past aside and avoid the issues he's faced with the group? Only time will tell, but expect to see more of the Canadian in this chapter of the Bloodline saga. More spoilers now, and if you don't want to know what happened, skip the next 20 seconds of this video. The War Raiders were shown confronting the Judgment Day, teasing a possible world title opportunity in the future before defeating the New Day. Eric and Ivar got the win after hitting a jumping clothesline after coming off the ropes, and this win could be what puts the pair in contention to Finn Balor and JD McDonough. At Crown Jewel, Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton never got started as Owens launched a sneak attack on Orton during Randy's entrance, kicking off a brawl between the two. After a referee ate a stunner and Adam Pearce took an RKO, the chaos ended with Owens delivering a flying elbow off a raised area, sending Orton crashing through a table. The direction seems to be that Owens will challenge Cody Rhodes, possibly at Saturday night's main event next month, and a win in Riyadh would have certainly helped him build momentum. The Wrestling Observer, however, reports that Triple H wanted Owens to build momentum, but without beating Randy Orton, hence why their segment at Crown Jewel went the way it did. The belief is that Orton will also be in line to challenge Rhodes in early next year, but for now, WWE is wanting Owens to be built up as the next man in line for the WWE Champion. Over to AEW Collision as Jon Moxley was on the latest show and talked up Wheeler Yuta as an honest and hardworking person who is willing to put his ego aside for the greater good. This was ahead of an impromptu match between Pac and Action Andretti that Pac won, but he refused to release his grip on Andretti after the match. That's when Orange Cassidy appeared in the audience to cut a promo on Moxley and Yuta and appealed to the old Wheeler Yuta who he spent time with back in the day. Cassidy claimed Moxley is just using him but plans to bring the AEW World Championship and the old Wheeler Yuta back to AEW by winning the gold at Full Gear on November 23rd. Moxley told Wheeler to go attack his future opponent, and Yuta hesitated, so Moxley slapped him in the face and sent him on his way. Yuta ran into the crowd to confront Cassidy, who stood there with his hands in his pockets, and a second of hesitation is all Orange needed to disarm Wheeler and level him with an orange punch. Moxley flipped out in the ring as Orange escaped through the crowd. It might have been just a minor win, but AEW certainly won the battle with the BCC during this latest collision. Now, it's not uncommon for wrestlers to hold a grudge for years or even decades due to a botched move or backstage incident. Just ask Bret Hart and his thoughts on Goldberg. Now, it seems that one instance of a match gone bad that led to ill will between WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray and Randy Orton is a thing of the past, according to the ECW legend. On Busted Open Radio, Bully shared that a dark match in the Ruthless Aggression era between the Dudleys against Orton and Batista left many involved in the match injured. Bully even said that a documentary team once tried to get him to talk badly about how Orton acted earlier in his career and wanted Orton to come across as a miserable prick. Bully turned it down and explained on the podcast that he and Randy are on much better terms today. He said, "Me and Randy have squashed all our issues, all of our problems. Neither one of us wants to speak a bad word about one another ever again. We have a nice relationship now, hugging and kissing when we see each other. But yeah, there were times, as I said before, that he was a bad apple early in his career, and that miserable prick thing, as Hunter pointed out, kind of followed him. This is probably the least miserable we've ever seen Randy since he's come back from injury." Both men recently appeared on WWE NXT, though they didn't cross paths on screen, as Orton defeated Javon Evans in the main event of the October 8th show in his hometown of St. Louis. As for Bully, he helped Trick Williams at NXT Halloween Havoc and will team with the NXT champion to face Ridge Holland and Ethan Page at this week's show in the ECW arena. It's certainly commendable that Orton and Bully Ray were able to leave their past issues in the past, as both men continue to forge different paths in pro wrestling today. With this week's Raw being taped in advance, it was inevitable that spoilers would surface online, but footage from the show in Saudi Arabia has been hard to come by. One fan in Riyadh was able to live stream a portion of the show, but as viewers noticed, this stream had to be paused multiple times, suggesting the fan was under close watch. Ultimately, security issued 2 warnings before shutting down his stream altogether, and the fan later apologized to his viewers on social media. The fan said that the organizers of the event were all around, and he'd received 2 warnings, as the team in the arena took sharing content from the show very seriously. WWE was understandably cautious about footage from the Riyadh taping leaking before the broadcast aired on USA, and fans will just have to wait until tonight's broadcast show. For years, Montez Ford has been a popular act as part of the Street Profits, but it's been years since either he or Antonio Dawkins held gold in WWE. It was just a few years ago that Ford seemed on the cusp of a singles run, with The Rock even calling him a future world champion, but that push, like a title win, has yet to surface. Speaking to the Daily Mail recently, Ford opened up about the current struggles of the Street Profits and teased possibly breaking out on his own in the near future. He said, "For me to sit there and go like, how's it going, that it's good, that'd be a lie. There's always pleasure in doing what you love, but it gets to that sense of frustration where anything you try to accomplish in life, you may feel like it's either taking too long or it's been too long or nothing's happening. This is the crossroads that I'm at right now in life. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be WWE champion, but I've also made a lot of changes and adjustments to try and be successful within this tag team, and now I'm at the point where I've done everything, still no success. I'm looking at the universe, I'm looking at the signs. Is it time to adjust to a new era, a new mode, a new mindset, or do I need to start getting rid of people?" Ford splitting from the Street Profits would be a monumental change for him, but would also raise questions as to where Angelo Dawkins would go as a singles competitor. Would Dawkins find a new tag team partner? And what do you think of the idea of Montez Ford going solo sooner rather than later? Share your thoughts down in the comments. Last week, Indi Hartwell was released from WWE, as was Tegan Knox, while Baron Corbin was informed that his WWE contract won't be renewed when it expires. Indi had been with WWE since 2019 and spent much of her NXT run as part of The Way, and after her release, Johnny Gargano paid tribute to his former stablemate. In a video, Gargano shared a montage of moments from their travels that often included Candice LeRae and Tommaso Ciampa, giving fans an intimate glimpse into their lives off of TV. Gargano closed the video with a touching message, "You'll always be family. We love you, Indie Wrestling," showing how supportive he is for her now that she's no longer with WWE. Hartwell will now have to wait 90 days before she's in action next, and will likely have to also sort out her work visa so that the Australian wrestler can continue competing in the United States. Whatever comes next, Hartwell has a ton of support behind her, and fans, as well as Johnny Gargano, are eager to see what's next for the former NXT Women's Champion. It was during the July 10th edition of AEW Dynamite that Samoa Joe was taken out of action during the Canadian Stampede Street fight with Chris Jericho. Jericho loaded Joe onto a forklift and drove him through a wall, resulting in Joe being stretchered away, but it may not be much longer before we see him back on TV. On Wrestling Observer Radio, it was reported that Joe's time filming Season 2 of Twisted Metal for Peacock wrapped last week, and he is now available to return to AEW. In the series, Joe performs the physical role of arguably the video game series' most iconic character, Sweet Tooth, while Will Arnett, known for BoJack Horseman and Lego Batman, provides the voice. In the meantime, Samoa Joe has already been confirmed to appear in the Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, and expect Joe to seek revenge on Chris Jericho when he's back on TV. As we previously reported, Bill Goldberg will wrestle his final match next year, and appearing for SEC Nation, said that Gunther was the frontrunner to be his last opponent. The pair had an interaction at WWE Bad Blood 2024, which has left fans speculating on a match, and TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth has an idea of how such a match should go. On Twitter, Nemeth said that Goldberg should start off with a spear and jackknife to Gunther, who will then kick out at 1, and said the pair should have a 3-minute match. Nemeth added, "Good effing riddance" to the idea of Goldberg's last match, as he may still be harboring some resentment from their match at SummerSlam 2019 that Goldberg won. Gunther does make a lot of sense as Goldberg's final opponent, though Nemeth later said that the Steiner Kid, aka Braun Breaker, would also be a good choice. Do you think it should be Gunther who ends Goldberg, or perhaps Breaker? Is there someone else entirely different in mind? Share your thoughts down in the comments. Now, October 2024 was something of a mixed month for Jey Uso, who started the month as the brand new Intercontinental Champion, only to lose the gold back to Braun Breaker. October ended with Jey being part of a shaky reunion with Jimmy and Roman Reigns, but it was Jey who stood above both his relations when it comes to merchandise. According to data acquired by WrestleNomics, Jey was the #1 merchandise mover for WWE in October, with Reigns coming 3rd and Jimmy coming down in 8th place. CM Punk, who missed most of October due to a hiatus, was 2nd, while John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin merchandise took 4th and 5th place respectively. Clearly, the Yeet Master remains over with fans despite his title loss, and with him back with Reigns and Jimmy, expect much more from main event Jey on the road to Survivor Series. And we're ending with some joyous news to report, as former WWE superstars Mandy Rose and Tino Sabbatelli have tied the knot. Surrounded by 200 friends, including WWE names like Sonya Deville, Indi Hartwell, and CJ Perry, the pair married on November 2nd at the Park Chateau Estate in East Brunswick, New Jersey. Speaking to People, Mandy said that the ceremony was worth the wait after getting engaged in September 2022, 7 years after first meeting in 2015. Now Mandy and Tino can look ahead to their next chapter as husband and wife, and we'd like to wish the couple our deepest congratulations at this time.